Everyone thinks creating motion graphics takes hours of keyframes and software. But what if I told you you could create one with just one click and it requires no animation experience? Dr. Video, you'll be able to create stunning animations in minutes. And I'll reveal a hidden trick that nobody uses that makes them look insanely cinematic. I'll show you the step-by-step setup in under a minute, and I'll show you a secret tweak that you can create professional and stunning looking motions. So here's exactly how it works. Let's dive in. First things first, so that you can follow through with this walkthrough, all you have to do is click the first link in the description below and join the Builders Lab community. Once you're there, you want to make your way to the classroom section, click the tools and resources course, and scroll all the way down till you find the AI motion graphics generator. Scroll all the way down and click on this where you can download, edit and workflow. Just click on this button here and you have it locally downloaded. Once you have it there, just open a blank canvas in Anyten and click on import from file. Once you're there, choose your AI motion graphics generator based on that you just downloaded, and you have it right here. So what I want you to do is pause on this video and go through this setup step by step. It will take you a few minutes. Once you're done, you can continue watching from here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly remove all of this and just click on save here. So let's start with this webhook, and now let's go back to this to the web app. So how this application works is that this acts as the front end. So this takes in the image webhook URL, the image webhook URL of the start scene of the motion graphic and the end scene, and the description too as well. And what it does is that it sends it over to this, it sends all that data, puts it all in a JSON and sends it to this webhook, which receives it. And once you have that, it basically starts to process this workflow. So for this example, I have two images here. I have a start image of this motion graphic scene and an end image of the motion graphic scene. And if you can tell, this motion graphics are not full screen, so we have to add green screen in the background so that it fits the size requirements for the API endpoints we'll be using later on. So if your motion graphics are not fully full screen, so make sure you have a 1920 by 1080 resolution so that they can fit the requirements for the API we'll be using later on. And make sure to upload them with an image hosting platform. The image hosting platform I use is IMGMeMe, which is here. So if you want, you can use them, or you can use anyone that you prefer. So you want to get the first image and paste it here. You want to get the second image too as well and paste it here too as well. And basically the transition description is basically how the motion graphics flows from this image to this one. And what I'm basically gonna say is make the search icon and to expand the search icon into a search bar. Then we need the text here like your typed in. So once we have those three set, we would have to get our webhook URL from our Anyten workflow. Let's say if you were running this normally, all you have to do is basically get your production URL and paste it and make sure it's active. But since we're doing a step-by-step walkthrough, what we have to do is click on this listen to event and just paste it here. Click on the generate video. We're gonna get an error because this is a step-by-step walkthrough, but in the Anyten backend, we are going to receive the data that we basically input here, which if you scroll here, you're going to get it in the body section of this JSON, which you're going to get the image1 URL and the image2 URL, and then the transition prompts too as well. So once we have this data, we have enough data to basically start working on the workflow. So let's click on this. So what this is basically a HTTP request that makes an API call to the Halo 02 model, which is the video model that we use because it provides us with something that other video models doesn't. It provides us the ability to enable start image and an ending image. So unlike Veo 3 or the new Sora 2, it doesn't give us the ability to provide a start image and an end image. So we basically send that over, and we send that over using a service called File.ai, which is an AI aggregator platform. And this is the Halo 2 model, as you can see. So as you can see, it provides us with the start image and the end image too as well. So once we have that, we send over alongside our prompt too as well, which is basically what we put in here. And then the start image, which is what we have here, and the end image, which is what we have here. So we send that over, and then what we get back is basically the status of our request, because we just made the request. So the status says in queue, and what we want to have a look at is this request ID, because we are going to use it to track the progress of the request that we just made. So since video models take a bit of time to generate, we wait for 30 seconds. So let's click on this so that it can basically wait for 30 seconds. While it's doing that, I'm going to explain the next node, which is what it does is that it basically checks the status of the transition request. So it's a GET request to the queue of File AI. And I don't know if I've explained what File AI is. File AI is an AI aggregator platform where you can access not just one video model, but video models, image models too as well. So in one API format, so it makes everything handy and clean and easier to use and manage basically. So if you check this GET request, what it does is that it basically makes a request to the queue of the File AI, and it checks the Halo model using the request ID that we have here, and that's just what we provided it with. If we click on execute step, we can see that the status has changed from in queue to in progress, which means that our motion graphics request is being processed and it's currently being made, unlike before where it said that it's currently in queue. So up next we have a switch which determines if the request is in, if the request is basically done or still in progress, which you can see here. If it was completed, the status would say in progress, but in this case it says, sorry, if it was done, yes, it would say completed, sorry, which means if it was completed, it would take us to the image completed branch. But in this case it says in progress, which aligns with this, and if we click on execute step, we can see that it takes us to the image still in progress branch, which means we are going to loop and wait for 30 seconds again. So let's just give it some time and wait for 30 seconds. So 30 seconds done. Let's check the status of the request again, and it's still in progress. So we're just gonna let it be looping once it's done, but come back so that we can continue with this. It just completed, and you can see here the status is completed, which means so the video has been done, and it takes us to the completed branch basically. And once we are on the completed branch, we want to get the results of the request that we just made. So we use this node, which is quite similar to the getting the status of the request, which we make a GET request in the File AI queue endpoint using the request ID. But this time, if you check in the other one, we also have /status, but this time we have no /status so that we can get the results. And as you can see, it provides us with a URL of the video, and if you open and you tab, you can see the video here, the motion graphic. And what you can notice here is that the resolution of the video is quite low, but the motion graphics looks really good. Let's give it a play again, but then the resolution is very low. That is why we have this upcoming node, and what it does is that we basically upscale the video using the Topaz model. So let me get it right here. And what the Topaz model does is that it upscales the video. Let's quickly click on this execute that. So let me explain while it executes. So we make a post request to the Topaz model, which is here. And what the Topaz model does is that it upscales your video, whether you want it to 2K or 4K. But in our case here, we are upscaling it by an upscale factor of 2, which means it's going to be a 4K video. And the target FPS, we want it to be 60, so it's going to be a 4K 60 FPS motion graphics. So you're going to see the difference between this and the end result. So we also provided with the video URL, which is basically this one here, and it's basically the same as the motion graphics generation request, which basically just says the status is in queue. And we're gonna take a look at this request ID, which is what we're going to use in the future node, so that we can check the status. Same as before, we wait for 30 seconds and then we check the status too as well. Once we check the status, we decide, or should I say we use a switch statement, which is like an if-else statement, which checks the JSON response of the previous node, which is this one. But let's just wait for 30 seconds so that it will quickly get it done, right? Okay, so once that's done, let's click on this and we'll see that it's in progress. Typically, this model takes quite some time because we're upscaling the video. I believe it's going to take a bit longer than this one. So what I'm gonna do, an idea here is, okay, so you can see in progress, which means that it's still in progress and not done, which means we're in the still in progress branch. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wait, and once it's done, I'm gonna come back so that we can continue, because I don't want us to stay here for just finished. You can see here the status says completed, which means we are in the completed branch. And what we're going to do next, since we're in the completed branch, as I've told you, it's exactly the same as this past execution, which means we're going to get the upscale results. And what that isn't exactly the same as the other one I told you, we're making a call to the FALIIQ, which we are going to target the Topaz model. Then we're not going to include /status because we want to get the upscale results. And in response, we get the video URL, same as before. And I'm going to show you side by side the quality. So as you can see, this has been upscaled to 4K, which looks extremely good. This is 4K 60 FPS, by the way. Wow. And it did exactly what we asked it to do from our initial prompt, because if you can remember, we told it to basically it's taking quite some time because it's 4K, so let's give it some time to load. So as I was telling you, it did exactly what we told it to do, because if you can remember, in our transition description, we told it to first expand the search icon into a search bar, then make the text appear like you're typing it in. And if we click on here, it exactly does that. But what you can do once you have this is you can just download it right here and add it to your video editing software. And since it's not a full screen motion graphic, you can easily remove this green screen and just be left with this motion graphic, and you can easily add it to your video. You see how quick and easy that was done. And as I've told you, no animation experience needed. So once we get those results, what this node does is that it basically sends it back to this front end, which displays it for you and gives you an option to play it or download it, instead of you having to open it in a new tab and all that kind of stuff. That is basically how this workflow works from starting to end. And for the curious one, let me quickly show you the costs of running this. You can see here is a cost breakdown table that breaks down the models that we use, which is the Hino 02 model and the Topaz model, which we upscale the video to 4K. And you can see here the cost per video is 87 cents, the cost per 10 videos is $8.70, and the cost per 100 videos is $87. And you can see why I tell you this is very, very cost effective. And on top of that, you do not need any animation experience. To make one video, that's less than $1. To make 10 videos, that's even cheaper than the cost of a burrito. And to make 100 motion graphics, less than $100. Wow, that's very, very cheap. Imagine the cost of hiring an animation designer to make a motion graphic for you. Wow. Or the time that you'd have to spend to make a motion graphic. Wow. So you can see this gives a insight of what it looks to be running this in your day-to-day. That's it from me for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you liked this one. If you did, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more. And also don't forget to join the Builders Lab community for more exciting stuff. Hope you like this one. See you in the next one. See ya.